I've always wondered what it is like to be, fully reciprocated. What it is like to be have someone choose you equally as you choose them. And while it might look different, it is reciprocal, and to put it in short, to be loved back by a partner. I have received a lot of love from family and friends, and that takes on a certain form, and I'm very lucky to have that in my life. I know that there's some people that don't. Um, what I'm really trying to identify is there's something distinct about a relationship with someone that is different from a relationship with, or your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your friends. I feel like friend relationships are like you have, like, they're almost like segments, right? It's like a segment of your life is like with this person. Maybe you have this one shared hobby and you spend that time with them. Or with a parent, it's like a lot of like guardian kind of mentorship. I will say with a parent, probably the only people, and lucky if it's true, but potentially the only people who will truly root for you in a way that everyone else might somewhat root for you, but they don't actually want you to do better than them in a way that a parent sometimes, if you're lucky, truly wants you to do better than them. But there's something unique about, a partner, right? Um, you know, Something about having like a girlfriend, a wife, for me, for example, where it is someone that you are choosing to spend your life with, choosing to spend a significant amount of your time in a way that no friend will overlap, will never have that level, especially for the implied duration. And there's something, you know, because it's so important, it is hard for me to have never experienced it and to only have a guess of what it's like. I've never been in a situation in my entire life where I've been fully reciprocated. I've said this before. I've gone on dates. I've had almost relationships, but there was always a catch. There's always a catch, and I can never feel myself. I wonder what it feels like to almost be able to fully just let go and allow yourself fully to someone because or at least you hope, not always, I know that, you hope that they're doing the same. It's almost like a trust fall that goes in both directions, and you know that both of you will catch each other. Because I've never had that experience, I'm only left to wonder what it is like. I'm only left to, hypothesize what it feels like to take the wins, the success, the great moments, the burdens, the hardships, the difficult situations, all those components of your life, and not just hold them by yourself. All the things I've, succeeded with, all the things I've had trouble with. Sometimes you'll console with a friend or console with a parent in those kind of components in those moments. But if you're spending that much time with someone, they are almost there throughout all of it. And maybe you don't share every specific issue with a partner. You share so much of it, and they see so much of it that even if you don't elaborate on the specifics of this specific hardship you're going through, they still feel it, right? And they're still there with you through it, whether knowing or not knowing for some of them, right? And, I wonder, and I can only imagine, what it would be, how much better the wins would feel if I had someone to share them with. I think to myself, like, right now in my life, I have running a company that's doing well, have employees, have big social media channels, doing, on paper, objectively very well, at least in my own, the way I would rank things. I'm very pleased with that. But it gets to a point where I ask myself, like, and I'm doing this for what? I mean, I enjoy it. It's a fun challenge in the same way I got a math degree. I enjoy like a good proof, right, from like analysis or something like that. But, I ask myself beyond, I enjoy this intellectually, what is the point of me doing it? And to me, it's like if I have someone that I'm doing life with, it's almost like when you get more enjoyment giving someone a gift than receiving a gift in most cases. And I feel there's almost this like unlock of this other reason to do things that would be there. I can only assume because I've never experienced this, that there's an unlock of like another reason to do things, and another, like, it's almost like, and I can't even describe it, if it is because you can share that with someone. I mean, a more tangible example of what I'm obviously failing to get to, right, would be, it's great to make money. It's fun. You can do things with it. But when I think of, okay, if I'm going to make money, what is the reason that I'm doing it? Some low order reasons, right? If I'm having like a ranked order of like high priority, good reasons, low priority, okay reasons. And I'm just putting the bad reasons out there. Bad reasons for me is like, I would say a reason I do not care about is like, I'm going to buy a yacht and it's going to be so cool to show off to all the other guys. I do not care. I'm not saying I don't care about anything material. I like some nice material things, but I think that kind of bucket generally it's a bad reason. But a lower reason would be, I like the ability to fly somewhere to go see someone. In a couple of weeks, I'll fly back and see my mom. I have the ability to do that, and it's not something I'm worried about. That is great. I like really good food at a good restaurant. Being able to pick something on the menu and be like, I'll just buy it. That is a good thing. And I enjoy it, and that'd be a reason for money. But that is insignificant given the anguish that you put into building something to generate money. But for me, the high order ranked things would be, I could, buy, a home where I'd want to live with a partner and kids. I could use money so that I could spend significantly more time with my family during that period, during the 30s and 40s, ideally. Ideally, we'll see. When, and just because, I believe it, but then I also see interviews and conversations and things with people who are older where it seems like the most common regret is spending too much time in your career, not spending it with your family. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm making this money and I'm doing these things so that then I'm making the money early so then I can use it so I can spend more time. I can be more flexible. I can send my kids to have a great education, go on experiences as a group. Like, solo travel is cool, but it feels empty to me. If you're able to have that experience, if you go with a partner or you go with a partner and your kids, then that is the experience. The experience is their experience. That is what you get from it. The same way that if you give someone a gift, you get so much more than if you get a gift yourself. And without tangibly understanding what that is like, it starts to become difficult to, it becomes difficult to always see the light at the end of the tunnel, if that makes sense. That I probably phrased that too dark. I'm in a good place. I'm totally fine. I do these videos late at night when I'm already, my emotions always break at like 2 a.m. So it's more productive for me to hop on a video and speak through them than it is for me to ruminate with my lights off, staring at the ceiling. So I'm okay. Don't worry about it. But I've just always wanted to know what it's like. I've been very close, and it's almost like it's always just out of reach. It's almost like the universe and the world is taunting me, where I was in a almost relationship, about a year ago, where we spent all this time together, and I met her parents and she met my parents. We did these things together, and I could feel it was so close to like, this is what it is. But it was always like, I was told it's not a relationship. And some of you guys in the comments might say like, well, it was basically a relationship. Well, that's the point. Remember the trust fall example that I gave to you guys earlier. If someone says I might catch you, are you gonna drop? Are you gonna like put the blindfold on and fall back because they might catch you? Of course, someone can say, I will catch you, and then not. Relationships break, cheating, drifting apart, that happens. But I've never had someone tell me that I'm going to catch you. And more recently, something that was so like still hard for me right now in a way that was unique, was that I felt like for the first time ever, like actually had, like in connection with someone in a way that I just have not felt before. And, I kind of, I don't want to go into too many of the details, but, that was extremely challenging because I felt so close, but once again, it was just no. It didn't happen. And I really just, sit here sometimes and think, what if this is not all that I am envisioning it to be? And I don't expect it to be all rainbows and sunshine. I expect it to be quite difficult, quite often. The best things in life are challenging. The best things in life are not all just wonderful, right? A lot of what makes it wonderful is the challenge, right? I do truly believe that. So I don't think I'm have this complete fantasy idea in my mind, but it also it's hard because if you've never experienced something, you don't know. If someone is colorblind, they can try with all their might and all their intellect to describe to you the color red, or to understand the color red. But if they've never seen it, they just can't see it, then they're going to fail. They're always going to come up short. They might get close in theory on paper, but they'll never truly understand it. And as I get older, as I'm almost getting close to 24, I've never experienced this. I not only wonder what it is like, but I start to get this gnawing sensation in the back of my mind of this fear. Because if this experience is 1% of what I've made it up to be in my mind, then if I miss it, it will be the greatest miss of a lifetime. It'd be like, I'd trade everything I'd have just to have it if I could go back, like if that was the case. And, it's late. So I'm probably going to wrap up because I'm probably not at a productive point. But I want to know, is it everything, for those who have experienced it, is it everything that it's made out to be? Or am I just setting myself up for failure?